Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West Texas.
We want to create a place, and that was kind of our goal, is to have a place where everyone felt that they could be included. And there's something here for everyone.
Permian Basin Comic-Con is this weekend. Coming up in just a few minutes, we've got a preview of the event, plus a look at the weekend weather on CBS7 News at 9. Thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks to those of you who are joining us live from our CBS7 YouTube channel. I'm Lauren Munt, and we start tonight with an in-depth recap of last night's hostage situation in Midland. After 27 hours, the hostage situation at a Midland apartment complex has come to an end. Midland police say that the suspect is in custody and all hostages are safe. CBS7 had live updates all day yesterday and into the early morning hours when law enforcement made the arrest.
Midland police identified the man as Christian Milan. He's being charged with aggravated kidnapping, sexual abuse, and is being held on a $1 million bond. Midland police arrived at the Sundance Creek apartment complex at 11:00 p.m. on Wednesday, March 13th, and report Milan had barricaded himself and was threatening to shoot the police. 12 hours later, at 11 a.m., they were still there, and more law enforcement had arrived, including Odessa Police and Texas DPS. Residents in the building were evacuated and told to avoid the area. Midland police told reporters on scene they couldn't provide a timeline as to when the situation would end.
The reason this is going on this long is because he is in contact with the negotiations. We're doing everything possible to get this resolved at the lowest form possible for the life and safety of these people being held hostage.
Around 4:00 in the afternoon, Texas DPS troopers took over. It was for the safety of all officers involved who had been working the situation for over 16 hours. But around 3:30 in the afternoon, Milan called CBS7 News. Milan told CBS7 he was holding the woman hostage for cheating on him and that he was, quote, heartbroken. Milan said he had the woman tied by the wrists in the apartment, but that she had at some point spoken to the police on the phone. Milan also talked about the young girl that was in the apartment and said he didn't plan to cause her any harm. CBS7 received Milan's permission to record the phone call he made, and we sent the recording to the Midland Police Department, Texas DPS, and the FBI. After 18 hours, the city of Midland began to coordinate with Midland County and the American Red Cross to help those people that were displaced by the hostage situation. In that same hour, Milan called CBS7 again. By 6:30, Milan was agitated, threatening and using foul language. A recording of that phone call was also sent to Texas DPS and the FBI. As the evening went on, a number of FBI agents arrived on scene, and part of that motorcade, an Enterprise truck. Still, for everyone on the outside of the situation, it was a waiting game. The 24-hour mark passed, and in hour 27, it all came to a head.
He did fall asleep, and that was the opportune moment. Once again, these things are very long and stressful. He didn't have the breaks that we were giving everybody else. So once he got exhausted and we found the best time to get him while he was not ready, that was when they went in.
At around 2:00 early Friday morning, our crew on scene reported what appeared to be flashbangs and loud pops. Shortly after, they saw Milan taken away in handcuffs.
He was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So there was a plan in place to take him into custody quickly with a lot of diversions, and it worked.
At one point yesterday, based off of Milan's comments to law enforcement negotiators, they believed there were 2 adult women in the apartment, but there was only one. That woman and the 9-year-old girl that were being held hostage by Milan were rescued by the multitude of law enforcement agencies that were on scene.
We work closely with our neighbors. We've called in assets they brought in out of El Paso, FBI coming in out of DC. Just everybody we called on to help came out as fast as they could, brought all the help they could bring, lots of equipment, and we had a successful mission today.
Also yesterday, the man claiming to be the suspect in the hostage case called into our newsroom. He spoke with our staff and explained why he was holding the woman and child hostage. You can find our full coverage of this on CBS7's Facebook page, as well as our website, that's cbs7.com. And staying in Midland, it's been 3 days since a manhunt started, and police are still searching for the suspect. They're looking for this man, 26-year-old Job Jasso. He's considered to be armed and dangerous. Jasso is 5'9" tall and weighs about 120 pounds. He's got tattoos on his neck, chest, and arms. He has warrants for drug possession and continuous family violence. If you see him, be sure to call 911. And today marks a solemn anniversary. It's been 2 years since a van carrying the University of the Southwest men's and women's golf team was involved in a deadly crash in Andrews County. It happened on FM 1788 and Highway 115. The golf teams had just left Midland and were heading back to Hobbs that night. The NTSB report on the crash says that a pickup truck crossed into oncoming traffic, slamming into the van. 9 people were lost that night. Tyler James, Mauricio Sanchez, Travis Garcia, Jackson Zinn, Carissa Rains, Lacey Stone, Tiago Sousa, Henrik Siemens, and his 13-year-old son. Siemens was the driver of the pickup truck, and the NTSB says that he was under the influence of meth at the same time of the crash. You can find our coverage of this on our website. Again, that's CBS7.com. Happening next week, Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson will be making a visit to West Texas on Monday. Speaker Johnson will tour an oil rig in Ector County alongside West Texas Congressman August Pfluger, who chairs the House Energy Action Team. Pfluger's office says the speaker will discuss energy policies that affect the oil and gas industry right here in the Permian Basin. CBS7 First Alert will have live coverage on Monday when Speaker Johnson and Congress Pfluger make their visit. You won't want to miss it. Something else they're not going to want to miss, Tom, is our weekend weather with Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller. Tom, it's been a rainy day.
Yes, we had those rain showers, thunderstorms this morning, some light rain, patchy fog moving in this evening. Odessa is down to 2-mile visibility. Seeing 1.25 mile visibility down towards the Alpine area right now. So it's starting to decrease a little bit. We're going to have to watch out for that fog overnight tonight as we're still covered up in the clouds. But any significant rain is well off to our east right now. You can see some of the fog. Again, not too thick in some locations. Other areas it is thickening up as we are seeing temperatures rather chilly out there. With the drizzle, the fog, 47 down Odessa and out towards the Miller National Air and Spaceport. A little cooler down in those mountain areas, and those current winds, well, they're starting to slacken off a little bit. Strongest where that front is located down in southern portions of Brewster and Presidio County. Possibility of scattered showers back on the way first thing in the morning and continuing until about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning with some areas of patchy fog in the forecast. So a cool, gray, and wet weekend looks to be on the way.
Thank you, Tom. All right, you've got your weekend weather. Now, how about your weekend plans? If you're a lover of all things pop culture, you might want to head to the Midland Horseshoe Arena for the 2024 Permian Basin Comic-Con. Whether it's dressing in cosplay, people selling hand-drawn artwork on clothes, or a replica of Tony Stark's arc reactor, there's something creative for everyone. Comic-Con offers a place for people to come from all across the country to celebrate different fandoms.
And it's just like a family reunion every single year, no matter what convention that I go to. So come out here and see, some things that you may like, see the different people that's out here, and make sure you have a good time.
Comic-Con will be at the Midland Horseshoe Arena until Sunday. And across West Texas, the new ballpark complex in Monahans is almost completed. The Ward County Commissioners Court approved the construction of the new ballpark last summer. The new ballpark complex they're adding new things to the complex. Eddie Nelm says he's building this new complex for the community to enjoy baseball tournaments.
The economic impact of this facility is going to be huge for the community also. There are going to be several more tournaments. You get a lot of people from out of town. They spend money here, they stay here, so it's going to be great.
Once Phase 1 is completed, they're planning to start renovating the larger baseball field for older teenagers to play once they've got the funds. And in some more local sports news, the West Texas Desert Hawks are the new Arena Football League team in Odessa. The Desert Hawks have been playing under the name the Warbirds for the last few years. The ownership and coaching staff is very optimistic about the team that they've got this season. But they're always looking to add new local talent. And that's why the Desert Hawks are holding a tryout. And new head coach Chris Siegfried is ready to see what West Texas has to offer and hopes to bring some locals onto their roster.
We've had a lot of success, in the past coaching at these tryouts, finding some talent. We're going to be a fast-paced, throw the ball around a lot. That's arena football, so we're just looking for guys that are great athletes that can help us win football games.
That tryout is on March 23rd at Ratliff Stadium, and you can register for the tryout on the team's website. And in the community now, Tidy Up is a local cleaning service for homes and businesses owned by a couple based out of Midland. But this isn't just any cleaning service. This one is a cleaning service for a reason: cancer. Gabby and Junior Billard's journey began from a desire to assist their family members who came to the United States seeking opportunities, but they had difficulty integrating into the workforce. Since they started their business 5 years ago, they've now extended their services to support cancer patients and their families by offering free cleaning services during their treatment.
We're so inspired about Midland and Odessa's community. A lot of people are not from here, but the outpour of people giving to the community has truly inspired us. And then we started thinking of how we could, on our own way, help out the community.
Now, twice a month, they'll be assigned patients from the national organization Cleaning for a Reason. The database will then provide free home cleanings for more than 53,188 cancer patients and their families all across the 50 states and Canada. Still ahead, a storm system ripping through the southeast is affecting your travel. We've got the latest on the storm next in your environmental news. Emergency response agencies are assessing damage and searching for survivors following a wave of tornadoes across the central U.S. yesterday. Ivan Rodriguez brings us a look.
See it? The tornado! This is one of several tornadoes reported to have ripped across the Midwest overnight, part of a devastating storm system that stretched from Texas to Pennsylvania, hitting states like Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky the hardest.
I can best describe it as a bomb going off.
Incredible destruction in places like Ohio's Logan County, where multiple deaths were confirmed, along with dozens of injuries. Aerial surveys Friday revealing the aftermath.
Unbelievable damage. I can't describe it any more than just like an explosion.
There's one coming right at us.
In Indiana, additional search and rescue teams arrived Friday morning, searching collapsed structures that multiple twisters left behind, looking for survivors and prepared to recover any victims.
The wrath of this really begins today when people realize the magnitude of the destruction. of their homes and of their livelihoods.
Along with tornadoes, huge, powerful hail rained over some areas.
You couldn't even see outside, and you could just hear the boom. I could feel the glass hitting me, and I'm still shaking.
Many had nowhere to escape the falling rocks of ice.
So I crawled in the back seat with my daughter, and I was covering her up with one of her little jackets.
The threat of more tornadoes, hail, and heavy rainfall is moving east, targeting the southeastern and Gulf regions through Saturday. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
As that storm moves southeast, forecasters say it could affect more than 30 million people from Texas to South Carolina, with parts of Texas, Alabama, and Mississippi having the greatest chance for severe weather. Ripple effects from the storm also impacting air travel today, with more than 4,800 U.S.-related flights canceled or delayed at one point, as tracked by FlightAware.
And we are looking at just some cold temperatures behind that front, a little bit of drizzle, some fog trying to move in. We'll get you up to date on that, show you if it's going to impact the weekend forecast. Up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, it has turned into a drizzly, foggy night across the Permian Basin right now. There's a look at our live iCam in Odessa, showing you the limited visibility out there. It's thick in some spots, especially out towards Schleiermacher Field, reporting 2-mile visibility right now with 47 degrees, 47 out at the Miller National Air and Spaceport with some fog moving in, and also Alpine. 1.25 mile visibility now, 43 degrees. As we take a look at the weather makers, we are seeing for the most part quiet conditions across West Texas after that front rolled in. It's just a little on the wet, drizzly side right now. As we take a look at the weather makers, again, there's this big storm system back across the southwest U.S. That's going to continue to spit disturbances out, and as that happens, we're going to see some rain chances. Looks like it'll happen first thing in the morning, and then again on Sunday morning across the area. Right now, the severe weather threat is a little bit further off to the south along that front. Had one severe thunderstorm produce some upwards to golf ball size hail in and around Angleton, south of Houston. There's severe storms trying to move out of Mexico into portions of deep South Texas. Again, we're not dealing with much here across the area. Some chilly conditions as that front again sags further off to the south and southeast. You can see some of the moisture associated with that system back across Arizona into New Mexico. And again, a little disturbance is going to bring the possibility of some showers first thing in the morning. Big contrast on temperatures today, into the lower 50s across the Texas Panhandle in comparison to the lower 90s down towards deep South Texas. Now, the West Texas Futurecast is showing that we are going to be dealing with pretty quiet conditions overnight tonight, except a couple of rain showers first thing in the morning, maybe a rumble of thunder over towards Big Spring, but it won't last all the day. We'll see some areas of clouds and fog hang around in our forecast through the afternoon hours, with the storms missing us to the east. A few more towards Sunday morning across the area. How about rainfall totals? Well, we got them for you here. Forecasted rainfall totals less than 1/10 of an inch through tomorrow morning. Move the clock ahead towards Sunday. We get maybe a little more than 1/10 of an inch across parts of the Permian Basin, but right now things look relatively light. So keeping the fog in the forecast overnight tonight, with a few areas of drizzle. Temperatures down into the mid-40s overnight tonight. And then for tomorrow, we are going to be looking for some pretty nice conditions, except for the clouds after the showers, about 59 degrees. So a little on the chilly side, but things will dry out a little bit before we see another rain chance in our forecast coming up on Sunday, and continuing that way into Monday morning, as we're going to keep things cool, occasionally wet, all the way through the start of spring next Tuesday.
The NRA caught in the crosshairs of a Supreme Court case. It's not about guns, it's about free speech. The full details up next. The National Rifle Association is caught in the crosshairs of a Supreme Court case next week. But as our Washington Bureau reporter Molly Martinez explains, it's not about the guns, it's about the freedom of speech.
Back in 2018, a New York regulator encouraged companies to cut ties with the National Rifle Association, saying that it would be bad for business. The NRA is now suing, saying that blacklisting violated their First Amendment rights. But lawyers say free speech applies to the regulator, too.
It's important for the government that's elected to express its policy views and the way it thinks about the world and how people should act.
Attorney Daniel Alter, who helped file an amicus brief in this case, believes that regulators should have the freedom to influence and to express concern with certain companies and their business practices. Attorney Jay Carson with the Buckeye Institute thinks that's unconstitutional.
But the problem is when you start having state officials tell companies, hey, it's not in your best interest to do business with this group that we find politically distasteful. That starts to.
Both lawyers agree a ruling comes with consequences that go far beyond guns.
If you can imagine, political groups from every part of the spectrum, wouldn't matter, all of a sudden decided that they wanted to sue officials, claiming that they were somehow hostile towards their political ideology while they were doing their job, would really put a lot of agencies and regulatory work in chaos.
What's at stake is ability of politically disfavored businesses to stay in business.
Justices are expected to make a ruling by the end of spring. In Washington, I'm Molly Martinez.
Still ahead, the UTBB Lady Falcon basketball team is in the NCAA Division II basketball tournaments. CBS7 sports reporter Jensen Young joins us for a quick recap of the game. Some local basketball teams are playing in tournaments this week.
They sure are.
Jensen, how are those scores going?
Well, UTPB women are just playing right now in the NCAA Division II tournament, and there's about a minute to go in the game. Okay. And last I looked, they are down by double digits, so it's not looking too good there. But the Odessa College Wranglers, both the men's and women's team, played in their tournaments today. The men did lose by 10. But the women, they won, so they're going to the final tomorrow to hopefully be able to get the final, get the tournament on their side. They'll be playing at 2 p.m. tomorrow, so be sure to watch out for that, and we'll have the update for you on the news tomorrow as well.
You will have a full recap of those games coming up on CBS7 News at 10. Plus, we'll hear from Jair Brooks Davis. That's coming up tonight on CBS7 News at 10.